for being patient. If I can remind all the board members and anyone in the audience to please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. Tonight's board meeting is being live streamed on UUSD's YouTube channel. The link is accessible on our website. Trustees, please have your microphones turned on and speak into the microphone. If an audience member wishes to address the board, please fill out a public comment form at the back table and present it to our executive assistant, Deb, prior to the beginning of public comment. Public comment is taken for items not on the agenda. Each speaker is given 3 minutes. A total of 15 minutes is allocated for the public to address items not on the agenda. For public comment for items on the agenda, it's taken at the time of the item, and each speaker is given 3 minutes. A total of 15 minutes per agenda topic is allocated for public to address items on the agenda. And if we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, and moving to C3, if we can get a report out from closed session.
Only one thing to report out regarding item B2. It was moved by Keplinger, seconded by Johnson, to uphold the decision of the assistant superintendent without hearing the complaint, and to ensure that an apology is given for providing an outdated complaint form. And that was a 5-0 roll call vote.
Okay, item C4, approval of agenda. I'd like to move to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second that motion. Aye.
Oh, thank you.
Point of order. I just wanted to make a comment about a bunch of the consent agenda items, but not alter any of them. Should I stand up there to just make a public comment on it, or I can?
No, you could just make it a comment.
Okay. One of the things that's on the consent agenda regularly is the contracts and the amount of expenses that we're paying as a school. And I just, I'm new to this board fairly, and it's just interesting. It's hidden in the details, but like how much the operation of the schools impacts our community in a positive way through like all the jobs that are created, all the contractors that are hired, all the different businesses. Like when you go through the list of monthly expenses, I mean, it was like 2.7 million in June, 4.43 in July, and that's dollars that are like going back out into our community in different ways. And it's just buried in these like long reports. And that doesn't even count all the contracts for all the construction at the schools. So it's just kind of interesting coming into this role and seeing how much the school is like supporting our kids and our community and the businesses. That's all.
Could I ask a question on these personnel items as well? I'm looking at the temporary athletic coaches. Do we usually have a water polo goalie coach, or is that new?
That was a change, they shifted positions.
Okay.
For which ones?
Steve, can you speak into the microphone?
No, it's under and these additional ones
The
here.
additional one?
Yeah, I just had never seen that before. Do you know what they shifted? Did they eliminate something? Or I guess it doesn't matter. It's their deal.
I can check and get back to you off the top of my head. I think it was two different, I think there was like a JV head coach and there's not a JV team. So we shifted it to help with the varsity, but
Oh,
I'm not 100% sure on that.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. And we're on item C6, but I don't think we have anybody from CSEA or UTA tonight.
Nope.
All right, item C7, leadership team report.
Will you turn the mic on there? There you go.
Okay, thanks. Good evening, Superintendent Kubin, Board President Keplinger, and trustees. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. My name is Dara Brown, and I'm the principal of Frank Zeke Elementary School. I'm here to just share, of course, we focus on all the priorities at school, but I'm here to share tonight with some detail priorities from areas priority 4 and priorities 1 about what we're doing on site. So, do I have to point it to a specific? There we go. Okay. According to priority 4, we want to foster a safe, positive, and healthy school climate. And our commitment is to cultivating a safe and positive and healthy environment just by creating a thriving community. We want all of our individuals to know that they are supported and valued, and our approach is very proactive, focusing on building a foundation of positive behavior and connection. So we have, I'm sharing tonight 3 of our action areas with you. We want to decrease our suspensions to 1%. Historically, for the last several years, our suspension rate at Frank Zeke has been really low. And so I feel like that's definitely an achievable goal for us. I'd like it to be 0, but 1% is our next goal. And so we just want to do that using positive behavior strategies, and I'll share some more in detail about that in a second. Our next target is, again, we want 100% of our students to feel safe at school, and we just want to increase the adults to student positive interactions as well as the positive student to student interactions on campus. Our target in Action 3 is a 95% attendance rate. We would like it to be higher. And we're just trying to increase engagement on campus to create a more positive attendance rate. So in terms of positive culture, what we're doing right now is, or what we're starting this year, is a weekly school-wide positive activity time. So on Friday afternoon, what we're going to do is the whole school has opportunities to earn their way into that, multiple opportunities throughout the school week. And that is just a time when our 1st through 5th, our TKs and Ks do something a little bit different, modified. But 1st through 5th grade, for about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, will come out on Fridays, and they will have the opportunity to play games with their teacher, play games with each other, but it gives the teachers an opportunity where there's a lot of staff supervision out there so that they can engage playing kick square or slam ball or whatever with the kids just to deepen their connection, hopefully give time to connect with students maybe that they haven't really had the opportunity to do that with. And then we will continue with our restorative meetings in terms of just supporting problem solving and relationships. We do that mostly student to student. It does sometimes happen that we have the opportunity to do that student to adult staff member as well. So we do both. And we have at Frank Zeke, we have a pretty robust plan for alternatives to suspension. So if a student behavior actually reaches the level of possible suspension or a suspendable offense, we try really hard to make sure that we stay focused on the learning opportunity in those moments, because we're a learning institution, not only for academics, but socially and behaviorally as well. And so we have a really long list. Some of the things that we have are like research projects. So we have the kiddo really get in deep and reflective with the choices, why the choices were made, better alternatives next time, or more alternatives more appropriate to the situation. They typically do presentations when they do that. So they get to choose, because I want them to feel really comfortable. Some students will choose to share with a lower grade, so we get to talk about audience and voice in their presentation. Some choose their own classroom, some choose other classrooms. We do things like gratitude journal, kindness jar, campus beautification, and relationship restoration. And we just want to equip them to make a better choice in the future. And then we're increasing our use of behavior reflection sheets in all behavior situations, just to increase the learning. And then switching over to making our attendance engaging, we have something called Imagineers Recess. So every approximately 3 weeks, kiddos who have attained a minimum percentage, which is 95 to 96%, in that 3-week time get to have a special recess opportunity. It's usually art activities. We're going to do class trophies for monthly attendance, so the highest in each grade level. And then we're going to try something fun, I think. The teachers were on board, a little nervous, but on board. So every trimester, the 2 highest attending classes will be able to see their teachers compete in something.
Ooh.
So teachers have to agree, so it could be something very simple and low anxiety producing, but it could be slam ball, it could be how fast can you do the multiplication table, it could be a lot of those things. So we'll see how that goes, but it's kind of exciting. And then we have some monthly rewards for 100% attendance, and students get to pick a variety of options. And then strengthening student connections. We, at one point, had a program where we were really connecting individual kiddos who maybe didn't have a strong staff connection with adults, and we're just going to, we're going to bring that back this year. We've hired a new counselor, and I'm so excited about this person and their vision. So there's no plan yet because he doesn't start till tomorrow. But I'm really excited, and I think that's really going to add to both all the priority areas on our site, but particularly priority 4 and priority 1. And then we're doing some site-level professional development on brain research. And basically what that is that there's brain research sort of coming out and being talked about now about the importance of hope and joy, and not just hope and joy in our feeling positive and happy, but hope and joy on actual brain chemistry and how that counteracts any sort of anxiety level, fight, flight, or freeze, because we all know that if a student is in fight, flight, or freeze, they're not learning. And hope and joy actually is not only a deterrent, but an actual barrier to those experiencing those in our brains. So it's kind of exciting, and we're doing some PD on that. Okay. So moving on to priority 1, we're committed to a comprehensive student success model that addresses the whole child. And we just want to foster a supportive, engaging learning environment, which we talked about, which is why I did priority 4 first instead of priority 1. And first best instructional practices as well as targeted intervention. And so here we're targeting student engagement. We just want kids to be happy to come to school and be at school. We're increasing opportunities to connect. Our next target area is to improve our first best instruction. So that is the instruction that kids are getting in their classroom at their grade level through Common Core State Standard instruction, and just to continue to improve our teaching through professional learning community model. And then our third target area is to increase opportunities for targeted intervention. So I'll talk more about that in a second. So in terms of student engagement, talked about creating positive classroom communities. We want to do that also just with an increase in one of our common assurances, which is just that morning meeting and check-in with students. And so we've already begun working on that this school year, and improving our instruction through the professional learning team model. And so that is just making sure that we're really clear on our essential standards, and we are creating common formative assessments as we go, tailored to that group and where they are, and then getting that data and responding to that data in a timely manner. And then increasing additional arts and education. So I'm also really excited that we hired an art teacher. We share that person with Ukiah. But we also had a production company called Hardly Artists in our community, and they came and worked with our kids towards the end of last year. The response was amazingly positive, not only for our students and our staff, which can be hard to impress. It was also amazingly well received and very positive feedback from our parents as well. So we're hoping to also have them come back in a fuller sense this school year. So that's exciting. Improving first best instruction. So again, that's just those teaching strategies. In the classroom, we are targeting evidence-based writing, and we are targeting academic conversations in the classroom. And then our site goals, again, They are just on those two specific strategies. And then increasing opportunities for targeted intervention. So again, our PLT process, which I already explained. And then last year we had a Learning Labs schedule, which just allowed our teachers to take the group that didn't quite meet the target for Common Core State Standard, skill, whatever the CFA was on, and address that need with them in the classroom while engaging the rest of the kiddos who did meet the target somewhere else meaningfully on campus. And we did that once a week last year. It's very well received by staff. We feel really strongly positive about our assessment scores and our improvement. And so we've increased that to 4 days a week this year. So shorter time, but every day's grade levels can have the opportunity to get that support. Oh, is that it? That's it. I'm done. So thanks again for letting me share. I know I get really excited about our school, but anyway.
Can I just
All
make a
right.
comment?
Okay.
I just have a comment.
Okay, yeah.
It looks like you guys have a great plan going into the year, and you're so excited.
Thanks.
I'd love to hear at some point how your teacher competitions go.
Oh, okay. I will let you know.
What you guys choose to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
will.
you don't want extra pressure. It
That-
sounds like a really fun idea.
They'll be fine. Yeah, I think the kids are going to get really excited about it. I was like, oh, I don't know if the staff is going to like feel nervous or anything, but
They might be.
they were kind of on board. So yeah, I'll
Okay.
let you know.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
I want to let you know, it sounds really exciting.
Thank
And
you.
you sound really excited.
I am.
love your enthusiasm.
Yeah, oh, good.
Good luck.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're on item C8, public comment for items not on the agenda. And all right. Item D1, public hearing to receive public comment on board consideration. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to open the public hearing to receive public comment.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say tonight. It's just an opening of a public hearing. There's a lot of steps we go through to do a new developer fee justification study. We only have to do it in one meeting. We can do a public hearing, and then the board can consider adopting the study. We choose to do it in two to give the community plenty of chances to make sure they're aware of the changes and to come comment to the board. And doesn't look like we have any tonight. There is a process you go through, as I mentioned. So anybody who asks for us to notify them whenever we make any changes, we have to send an email 14 days in advance. We did that. We had to make the study available for review back on August 4th. We did that. We had it ready even earlier. We put ads in the newspaper on Sunday, the August 3rd and Sunday, August 10th. It's in our agenda. The study's tied to our agenda. So we've done all the public notice requirements. And so we'll bring it back again next month with another public hearing. And then after that, we'll ask the board to consider whether they want to adopt that study at that time or not. That's it.
Was there any public comment for item? Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Close public hearing?
Okay.
I see that the state allocation board biennial inflation adjustment is $5.17 per square foot for residential construction. And then on the second page of the executive summary, I see that based on the cost of reconstructed school facilities, the impact equates to $7.42 per square foot.
Right.
So
you
am I
have to
reading that right, that there's like this discrepancy between what the state says this 571 is going to be approved, and then the 742 costs like more, it would cost more per square foot?
Correct. The state sets the cap. We have to go through and justify and prove that we need at least that much to be able to raise our rates. The rates are currently $4.79 per square foot, so this is actually going to be a 38-cent increase or 7.9% increase. But right, so we're eligible for, our math is higher, but it's capped at the 5.17 or $5.17, excuse me. Yeah.
So we're under what it really I mean, the approved level is under what it really would cost us.
Correct. And the state adjusts this every couple of years based on statewide averages, and I'm not sure anybody can do anything in the state for the statewide averages at this point, but it's what we get. Okay. All right, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Steve.
So can I ask one question, Steve? No, it's just quick. Does that mean it comes back at the next board meeting for us to make that decision?
Correct.
Okay.
So again, we're already charging developer fees. This is an update to our study. So when the rate increases every 2 years, we have to do a new study to justify whether we want to increase our rates to that new amount. So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
And we didn't rush that. We were waiting to see, there's a pending lawsuit in the state, Sheets versus El Dorado County. And then also we have some other things on our plate regarding developer fees. So we could have done this sooner. We wanted to wait and see where things were. But so actually the rate will be going up again in about 6 months, and we'll come back
Do
at
it
some point
again.
after that and do it again. But
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item D2, board member representatives to committees.
Yes, so we have board members who serve on committees of the superintendent, the City Schools Committee, the District Advisory Committee, the Grading Task Force, CSEA negotiations, and UTA negotiations. We've listed in there who the committee representatives were for 24-25, and we would like to get some ideas from the board about who would like to serve on these particular committees of the superintendent. I actually appoint you to these committees, so you'll be hearing from me soon in writing who these representatives are. But we'd love to hear from you what your interests are.
I can say that I would really like to stay on the city schools committee. B?
I'm fine with CSEA, I mean, UTA again. Yeah, it has worked out, if it works.
I'll do UTA again, and I think I'm also on the DAC.
I would continue with UTA and the grading task force unless somebody else wants to take that on. We're sort of in the middle of it. But I'm fine with anything.
Do we have a second person for CSEA? There is one board member not here who,
I think Tyler would do it. He did it before.
and then we would love to have one more for the DAC. The DAC meets about 4 times a year in the evening. And I'm saying this for John's purposes. We really work together on the strategic plan. We have classified employees, certificated employees, administrators, and parents from every school site, plus some at-large representatives. The college comes. We've got the city of Ukiah. It's about a when they're fully present, we have it's about a 60-person committee. So, and they meet about 4 times a year.
I'd be interested in talking with you potentially about what the commitment is. I just am cognizant that I've got a lot of other things and just got appointed to some other positions. So
Got
I
it.
want to make sure I can serve well.
Yes, and you don't have to. You could also have a backup if you'd like.
And I've been on the DAC before, and I can definitely help out if that works.
So, John, what if I give you the dates and you can kind of check things out? Or Fred could be your backup if you can't come?
Or,
Or
yeah,
you could just be it?
yeah.
Yeah, if you could give me the dates and if there's other commitments outside of that in terms of like how much preparation time, I don't want to sign up for something and then not end up being able to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of a think tank group. Carolyn, when you say there's not a lot of preparation that goes into,
No, not a lot.
we really assess your opinions on things and,
There's a lot of input from the group, and Katie takes some massive notes for us, and
Yeah,
it's like a think tank.
if you could send me the dates and then Fred and I, and you can,
got it? Okay.
great, thanks.
Thank you all. You'll be hearing soon.
Okay, item D3, board agenda planning calendar.
So every year, we try to anticipate what we have going on in the year, and we create a board agenda planning calendar of items that we know every year we have to deal with, and then if we have anything new coming up. For example, the year we were doing our strategic plan, we knew that we had a lot of work to do, and so we integrated that into there. So this is a draft. It really helps guide our work, the work of the staff, and helps us pace out things. And in the next item, we'll be getting your input on some board workshop dates, which are not in here. Those topics are not in here. So we try to stick with this planning calendar, and if there's anything else that you want us to add on to here, you can. Otherwise, we have an approval of it, and we try to stay with it as much as possible, knowing that stuff comes up during the school year.
Zoe?
No, I actually don't have a comment. I'll move approval unless somebody has a comment, feedback. I move to approve the board agenda planning calendar.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Item D for board workshop dates and topics.
This next item is for the board to give us some direction on what they would like to learn more about this year, go more deeply into a topic. We put, and last year, and we have some suggested dates here too. We could play around with those, but we thought we'd plan them out for the year. Last year, the board, I think last August or September, the board asked for us to do an updated presentation on social emotional counseling. So we put that there, but it doesn't mean that we have to do that. So you could substitute a new topic in there if you'd like. And then in January, we usually do a board governance workshop. And we also do a strategic plan deeper progress report. But because we have 2 meetings in February due to March 15th timelines, we thought we could do a heavier agenda on one of them, a lighter on the other, and do the strategic plan progress update during one of those, so we don't have to add another meeting. And then April 9th to be determined. Again, this is kind of loose, so if you have opinions about what you'd like to see this year or learn more about. We also have our facilities master plan coming up, and so we've got that process going in place, and yeah.
So I know that one of these dates I'm out of town, which doesn't matter, but it also is the 30th, October 30th. There's a grading task force from 4 to 5:30. I don't know if that will affect you or not, but that is they're both on the same day, which I'm going to miss both.
So let's do this first. Let's look at the topics and just see if you have input for us on the topics. You know, our counseling program is a little challenged right now because, as you all know, we got the federal government gave us notice, and many districts, that they will not be funding our school-based mental health grant. You all decided last spring to go ahead and fund that through the end of the school year, so kids don't lose services in December. We did submit a reconsideration letter to the Department of Ed, Federal Department of Ed. We were contacted by the Attorney General's office, and there is a lawsuit happening, and so we rescinded our reconsideration letter so that if the state of California prevails, we're able to recover those grant funds. So that's kind of in limbo right now. You know, our counselors are a bit worried about the program and their jobs and all of that. So I'm wondering about the timing of that. It's just a bit of a sensitive topic right now. I'm hoping that we'll know by October. Those grant funds are scheduled to end in December.
So are you suggesting that we potentially switch that back later if we don't know enough at that point and move that social emotional counseling to like the January 8th date or even to the April date?
We could, except the facilities master plan is brewing. We could always do that at a board agenda too. Maybe another topic in October.
We could drop social emotional counseling for the year too, right? I mean, maybe this is not
We
the best
could.
year for that.
although, you know, coming up with a long-term plan around that, I think is important, so I think later would be better, though. And then we won't have any new board members in January. So I'm wondering if we could do the governance workshop in October.
I'll just switch them, maybe?
Maybe do the governance workshop in October. We could do a counseling workshop, or would we be ready for a facilities master plan or something like that in January? Not yet? Okay.
No, April 9th is actually really the perfect date for that, not to lobby too hard, but, because theoretically, we're bringing it to you on April 16th to approve, and there's gonna be a lot there you might wanna have us present and talk about with you, so that would be a really good date, April 9th, if it works.
I'm also interested in learning more about the impacts of AI. I know it's everywhere and increasing, and not just in terms of how we use it for students and employees, because I know one of the other items on the agenda tonight, or two of them, I think, are around an AI policy, but just how do we look towards the future and the impacts on what skills and job opportunities our students are going to have, and how we can pre-position our school district to be able to prepare our students for what seem to be significant impacts coming in the next 2 to 5 years.
That would be, I think that'd be really interesting. That also should probably be the end part, or, I mean,
Probably.
the end
Yeah,
part of the year.
We'll be deeper
What do you think?
into it.
The end part of the year?
Yeah, as opposed to,
Yeah, no, that would be fine, but, yeah, as long, depending on the timeline, and we'll get into this later, of developing the board policies around AI, as we get into those, actually rolling out those policies, having that knowledge from an outside expert, I think, for the whole board, because you'll be having to learn a lot about it, Deb, to develop the policies. But I think that would be important for us to have that foundational knowledge. And
Another crazy thought, I'm just throwing
Yeah.
ideas out, but I'm wondering if earlier on that, not way earlier, but October 30th, we could share some of those plans with the board. We have instructional technology leaders who are working right now and getting a bunch of training. Like, we could talk about what our plan is for the year a little bit more deeply, and maybe it's combining too much, and do a governance workshop. We could use AI to do a governance workshop. No. Again, just throwing ideas out. So we've got AI, facilities master plan, potentially a social emotional counseling presentation, budget.
It's a lot. Would the AI include the legalities for our district about AI and AI in the classroom? I mean, just generally, because I know there are some concerns about the usage of that.
Yeah, we have
How
our
we're protected.
Yeah, we have our policies forward. There's so many directions we could go in AI. I know I attended at the last CSBA meeting all of the sessions on AI because I really wanted to immerse myself in that knowledge. I think it might be kind of interesting to see what what's going on in the classroom related to AI and some of the programs that they're looking at utilizing as teachers. So there's a lot of, we should probably leave it alone and not combine it with something.
A lot to cover.
Because we could brainstorm with the board about like what focus you want to do, and if we want to look at legal and classroom, we probably want to let it be alone, its own workshop.
Okey-doke.
Do we want to have do you want to have a counseling presentation? Or do you want that integrated into a board topic at some point?
Wait and see what happens.
yeah, I feel like it's so much in limbo with the lawsuit and not knowing what the outcomes are going to be of being able to fund it, that if we have a plan to fund it through the end of the year, that if we were going to have that workshop, maybe having it later in the year so that we give time for that lawsuit to proceed, but we still have enough time to be able to plan for the next year.
Or we could try to integrate it into the strategic plan presentation in February?
or you could have it be part of a board meeting, right? A lighter
Right,
board
that's what I
meeting.
was thinking in one of the February board meetings, like the late February board meeting? Or early February board meeting?
Well, April 9th, don't you have something? Is it the 9th?
Facility master.
Yeah, the facilities master plan, we could, but again, there might be other things taking precedence too, so.
I'm also in favor if we need to wait on the social emotional counseling. It was a great presentation. I know we were really excited to hear more this year, but with everything going on, I think AI is kind of that. Yeah, I would really love to hear about that and how it's in the classroom.
So what if we did this? What if we did the board governance workshop in October? Oh, but you're not here, Zoe, on that October. We can find another October date. We would want the whole board to be there for that.
Yeah.
So we could pull you on dates and do the governance workshop in October. And then in January, we could do another presentation, but not the facilities master plan. We could do AI in January. We'd have part of a year done. And then in February, we could do strategic plan progress and include a special lens on our counseling program. Because if we, in February, one of the February board meetings, because that is a component of our strategic plan. And then in April, we do the facilities master plan.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds better.
Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
That sounds good.
Team, cabinet team, what do you think about that?
Just thinking March 15th, if there's anything we have to be meeting and talking about in advance of that, but we can always do it in regular meetings
We
as well.
can.
So.
Yep.
And we were saying that we could potentially do that both in January and February because we'd be working on the strategic plan and
You mean in the
budget.
board meetings?
Mhm,
Yeah.
in the core.
Okay. Sounds good. Good?
Okay, and do we need action on, no action on this one?
Yeah,
correct?
I don't think so.
Okay. Moving on to D5. We have first readings.
Yes, we have multiple first readings here. These are all CSBA generated changes in the law. Most of them are super minor, like some of them are really just even wording changes. So this is a first reading. It would come back to you at the next board meeting. That's number 5 through 24. So if you have any feedback for us, you can either give it to me here, or if you want to give it to me before the next board meeting, that's fine as well.
All right. E1, superintendent's report.
Oh, wait,
John,
Any
did you have
feedback?
something with it?
yeah, so on number 8, the revised district technology plan, number 8, I think that this is around the, it starts with the superintendent or designee shall develop. I didn't see in here, like, looking at what we talk about the current uses of the technology in the district and an identification of future needs. Or looking at what the best research about trends are so that it's forward-looking was just something that I didn't see in there very much. Current uses and identification of our needs, but to me, there was a component missing around incorporate current research on the beneficial and detrimental uses of this tech was one comment.
Okay.
And then on, just that there wasn't a mention of incorporating the,
Research.
research on the beneficial and detrimental uses of technology when
So-
because it's just such a quickly evolving field. And then on number 9,
Can I ask you a clarifying question,
Sure.
John? Do you think we would integrate that in that section where it says the district's technology plan shall include but not be limited to? Where do you think that would go? And I can spend some time thinking about it too.
Yes, in that section there around,
Or it could go in the second paragraph.
I had put it in the third paragraph.
Okay.
Down, because it was saying, an assessment of the current uses of technology and identification of future needs. And I was thinking that, based on, like, we can identify our own internal needs, but then with the technology evolving so fast, I think looking at what's, like, really out there of the thinkers looking ahead, because the fields are changing so quickly.
Got it. And then you had some feedback on number 9.
Yeah, on number 9, on the last, where was it? It was the last, I had it listed as the last paragraph of page 2. But page 2 is blank on here. It was, basically you said effective, and I was wanting to say beneficial to students, but I will have to find that and get back to you on it. Because effective can be like effective at what versus like beneficial to students. I know, that's why I'm.
You can just email me, John, if you.
Okay, I will do. That's great.
Any other questions, comments, concerns about?
Yeah, yeah, sorry, I've
It's
got a
okay.
few.
Don't apologize.
On number 16, it's around sexual harassment. And it seems like sex discrimination has been systematically removed from these documents. It just, like on page 1, about halfway down, it used to say they constitute sex discrimination, including sex-based sexual harassment. And that continues on through this document and other ones, and I'm curious of why there's the removal of the discrimination part, and partially, I mean, I have a daughter, and there's the harassment component, but then there's the discrimination side of saying, well, you're a girl, you can't do this. So I was curious if that was like a definitional change. I mean, I know a lot of these are around like the Tennessee versus Cardona Supreme Court decision and the changes to Title IX and that, but removal of discrimination is something I was concerned about. So I'm just curious if you had if there was a reason why in all these places there's sex discrimination is removed.
Yes, in 2020, so this is, so Title IX was changed. So the federal law changed recently, and it reverted back to the 2020 regulations.
Right.
So all of this language is legally required to go back to the 2020 language. This is all legal language.
Right. I got that part of it, but I mean, when I looked at what that decision was, it was, as far, and I'm no legal expert, but
Nor
just
am
trying
I.
to read through it, it was really removing, it sounded like more gender identity as a basis for discrimination as a protected classification, and it was reverting more to like biological gender. So I didn't get why removing discrimination was part of that. So I guess, if we're voting on this next time, if we can find out why the word sex discrimination is being removed pursuant to that decision, I hate for us to move backwards and all of a sudden it's okay to sexually discriminate against somebody.
Doesn't it say that in the next item down? The district does not discriminate? Right
Will you
below.
turn your microphone on,
Oh,
Carolyn?
sure, I'm sorry. Where it's been blanked out, right above all those lines that were blanked out, and right below it says, the district does not discriminate on the basis of sex.
Right, yeah, and then that's why I didn't understand why everywhere else it's
Up
completely
above?
removed.
And you're saying this is the new legal definition? Okay.
And I'm not an attorney,
Right,
so.
no, I know,
the-
I know.
The CSBA attorneys vet these, but if you want me to ask, I may have to have an attorney give us I'm not an attorney. so-
Right, no, I just, it seems like it's some significant language changes around
There are
protections against
significant
sexual
language
discrimination.
changes.
And I'd like
There
to
are.
understand, I know,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's, we all have our own personal opinions about that. And we have to comply with the law, but understanding as the board of like why now all of a sudden we're removing this language around no discrimination would be helpful to me. And I'll try not to drag on too long, but there were just like some weighty things in here, I felt like. On number 20, there was a lot of alterations, a lot of language being removed and then pasted down, and I know that you can do like use Word to do language comparison and see if everything that's been removed in one place is in the other, but it's like, there's a whole, basically 2 pages cut off the top of that policy, and then there's a lot of language put back in below, and if it's possible to see what actually changed in there versus it just being deleted and added to another section, or the headings are different. So.
You want to talk about that?
Well, if I could pull up, there was so much, like you said, that changed. It went back to what the language was in 2020. And I have to pull up all of the CSBA sample policy that will tell us.
Yeah, and John, I'll just say too, sometimes they reorganize some of these policies, and it's easier to just adopt the new language because there are so many substantial changes with the reorganization. I can't speak to whether or not this was one of those.
Right.
But if you look in the rationale, you can see that the policy was updated to delete material related to sex discrimination, which was added. But then it was vacated under the Title IX regulations. So all of this language is going back to the 2020 regs.
Right.
And we frankly had just sort of, in the last year or two, been trained in all of the Title IX regulations.
Right.
And now we're having to revert back to the old ones.
Right.
Because of the law.
I guess the place I'm coming from is that there's such large-scale changes in the legal framework of how our country operates, and this is like a concrete example of how those big decisions get in the news for a little while and then they disappear, but then they filter down to the local level. And if we're seeing our local policies have to change that make it easier to do sexual discrimination or to change the basis of how we're making decisions, like we've had some public comments here where, things happen where it is out of the public awareness. And I just am trying to both understand the impacts and then also in this public forum tie back to there's big changes happening and we live in a democracy, and if people don't like the changes, they should understand what the impacts are so they can change their opinions in the future and be informed. So that's where I'm coming from on this. And sorry if I'm keeping us here a little bit longer.
No, it's okay. So John, on this one, what would you like, what is the follow-up on this? What direction would you like us to? And again, I don't know legally that we're
Right.
going to be able
I
to
know.
go into a different direction, but I certainly could have legal counsel come or get our legal's opinion on.
I mean, I guess it's really like, there's a lot of dense information out there. I looked at a lot of different websites that are by different law firms, and I don't know how much credence to give it, but like a distillation of just like, these are legally required changes, and what are the bullet point impacts? Like, yes, discrimination is, sex discrimination is now basically allowed, or because and I don't know how feasible this is, but there's, 2 pages of deletions and then some additions, and I know that there's tools that you can use to do a language comparison, but if there's an expert who's like, here are the ramifications of these changes, that would be really helpful for us to understand as we're approving it.
Yeah, I mean, we could bring legal counsel in and do a presentation to the board on Title IX. I could ask our legal counsel to give us an opinion about these CSBA policies. I mean, one of the reasons why we're part of California School Boards Association is they do vet these legally, but you're right, there are lots of legal opinions, and yes, a lot has changed. The loss of our counseling grants, this is one example of that. There's been a lot that has changed.
I mean,
And we're not going to allow sex-based discrimination in our
Right,
schools.
I know, it says it at the top, you know, and I appreciate you pointing that out, but, and I would be interested in the board's opinion too, if like, legal advice isn't cheap, and I don't want to incur extra expense, and so I don't know what other people's thoughts are of if it's worth the expense and the time on a future agenda item for just to have a, you know, I don't know if it's a 15 or 20 minute or half-hour presentation on like the impacts of Title IX on how our student body is going to be treated under the law.
And there's no rationale. They didn't give us any.
That's just the law's changed.
It's just a change. That might be worth looking into. Just
The information that we received from CSBA about these changes has more detailed notes for the wheres and why-fors. It's just not in the language. But maybe just seeing these would help answer some of your questions.
Sure,
So I can,
If you could forward
we
that
can
to me, I
send
mean,
that, I
I'd
can send that to
be
everyone.
happy to read it, yeah.
Yeah, we can send it to the
Great.
board as a whole. And we'll
Yes.
put it in the Friday communication to the board.
Sounds,
Yeah.
thanks, Deb.
Okay.
Yep, thank you. And then I think the last one I had, I mean, on number 21, there's some significant changes, but I think that covers it. And then on 24, which is a different topic altogether and not related to that case, there were large sections of process around other disclosures, policy, procedures for a censure, those kind of things that were removed. And it's much clearer, simplified, and brief language, but it doesn't lay out a process. I mean, basically, like, if a board member threatens to disclose or does disclose confidential information, the board may pursue or enact one or more of the following actions as it deems appropriate: injunctive relief, referral to grand jury, censure, and then the area around what those disclosures are, that's fairly covered and clear in the top. The policy is, but the procedures, I just didn't know why we're removing all of the procedures to do censure. Right. So it's basically saying, yeah, you can do censure, but then it takes away everything that says how you do censure.
And that might be in what Deb's going to send us.
Yeah, although this one isn't Title IX.
It will show you why things were changed. It has references, and so seeing these, I think, will help answer some of the questions.
Has the detail of all the legal references. That's what we get to go through to decide what to, well, we don't really get to decide because the law changes. So anyway,
Right. In number 24, though, the description rationale doesn't seem to mention that it's removing the process of censure. When it says the information acquired.
we could
Continue.
find out from legal counsel if we can leave it in there, if that's the majority, what the majority of the board wants to do.
I haven't been a part of the board for very long, and I don't know how often censure happens.
We've never
but-
done it in 14 years.
Okay, well, maybe that's why it's
But-
been removed, but it's, you know,
It doesn't mean, I mean, it's still available, just there's no process listed.
right,
I think that's what you're saying.
right, there's no, it says, oh, yeah, you guys can do censure, but then it doesn't say how you do censure and what's the appropriate process.
That would be a legal question, wouldn't it? for
It
our-
would be.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
So do you want us to double check with our legal counsel on that?
Yeah, just to ask why the censure process has been removed from this list. And is there some other document that we have that says, here's how censure proceeds? Or is it because there's like a reference in the law that they're saying at the bottom, or another board policy?
Actually,
Because
can,
if we ever face that, then there's no reference to go back to say,
right,
here's how we do censure.
I-
Hopefully that never comes up. I'm glad it hasn't in 14 years.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this board hasn't experienced that, but there was a time that we were in the process many years ago of actually doing that. We didn't go all the way, but there was a process that we did do, and it was very helpful to have that, and know exactly how to do it. It stops certain things from happening. So that's a really good point, and I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we can ask, like, if we can leave that in there. I mean, normally I would call legal counsel, and if the board said, Deb, get a process for us on X, Y, or Z, and we would get it, we'd probably have legal counsel involved in something like that with the board, so we don't make a mistake.
Right, right, so,
I'm not sure why it was removed, and I don't have the materials in front of me to be
Right.
able to tell you,
Yeah.
so.
And we didn't do it.
And I don't remember,
Yeah.
because we had so many policies as we were going through and looking at these.
right,
off
no,
the
I know.
top of
There's,
my head.
there's a lot of them here. It was
Yeah.
not, it wasn't fun reading through all of them, I wouldn't say, but, I know.
So then, just to summarize, we have specific feedback on 8 and 9. And then we need some questions answered around Title IX. I'll have Debbie send that out. If you need more than that, or you want legal counsel to come up and do a Title IX presentation, we could do that. We could make it a board workshop. If you wanted to have that be a different type of board workshop rather than the ones that we chose. And then the question about why has the censure process been removed?
Or what would be the process to censure?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it says that we can do it here,
Yeah,
but
we
then
can
the
do
whole
it.
process of how we do it is
That's been,
gone.
yeah, that's been removed.
Request for censure hearing must be, and then censure happens this way.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm done. Thanks for your patience.
B, did you have a comment, or was that from her? Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sorry, I lost my place.
Superintendent's report.
Superintendent's report.
I will be very brief. We've had a super long week, but very fun. We have the Ed Services team and the HR team have delivered many, many hours of professional development to our over 900 employees. Angela today did a training for classified employees. We've done a lot of 3 days of training for our administrators, our site secretaries had a little bit of training, and then Katie's team has delivered so much professional development for our teachers, and it's been really great to see everybody back. People are very excited. We had a great rally on Wednesday, welcoming our employees back. It was so much fun seeing our staff who were brave enough to dress up as mascots and participate in a dance-off. It's a really fun way to kick off the year. We had our food service team deliver a delicious breakfast for our employees. That event on Wednesday involved so many people with technology and maintenance operations and our entire team making that event happen. So anyway, it's been really fun, really, really busy couple of weeks. Sorry, I'm a little tired tonight. It's been,
okay.
Katie's probably more tired than I am, maybe. I shouldn't complain. But it's really, really so great to see all of our staff back. We can't wait for our kids to come back on Monday. So be really fun to welcome them all back into our schools, and really excited. Hopefully we'll have great attendance on Monday.
Right.
All right. Item E1, board report, board members report. And, go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted to thank Dan for this beautiful book of all of the, is it all the Facebook posts?
All of our Facebook posts from last year.
It's really fun to look at, and it's amazing how much he captured. So thank you, Dan, for the book and also for all year long capturing all of those events on social media. It's really, really, really wonderful to see. Lovely.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I just want to say, it was just the Wednesday welcome back was really fun and funny. I couldn't believe how brave everybody is to do what they do. But it was, and everybody seemed happy and enthusiastic and ready to go. And Deb, you did do it under the hour and a half. It was pretty darn good. And it was still, it didn't feel like too fast or too long. Yeah, so you guys did a great job. Thanks.
It's fun.
You know, I'd like to comment on the rally too. The energy was great. It was a great way to start the year. But I also, when we were able to come in here and meet the almost 50 new teachers during their orientation, and then to go to the rally and see them all introduced, I just was thinking about it as a perspective of a new employee for the district. And we know that people stick around because of how their place of business makes them feel, not how much they make. And I could just see how excited they were, and the environment that you showed what UUSD is. I mean, I think that it was just wonderful. And I think that everybody was so energized, and we're gonna have some really positive feedback from those new teachers from that welcome. So thank you so much.
Super fun way to greet people.
Yeah, it was.
A bunch of us are attending a workshop tomorrow with Dr. Doug Fisher, who's going to be one of our professors in our San Diego State admin program. But it's all about, he's written another book, and it's a playbook on belonging in school. And there's a whole section in there about greeting and how we welcome people. And I was sharing with the staff that, like, how we welcome our staff back to work, I think, is really important. Just as a teacher standing greeting students as they're entering their classroom, or like at Nokomis when on Fridays their mascot is out greeting the students as they get dropped off, and somebody's out singing, and there's a whole dynamic approach to greeting kids. I'm excited that we could do that with our staff. It's a little wacky, but really fun.
A little?
No. It was neat.
All right, I think we are we on planning?
We are.
Deb, I don't have the, I don't know if I have the sheet. Do I? Oh, I do. So this is a November, oh my gosh, September 3rd, Wednesday. It's a 1 p.m. Agenda planning. And it was John, Zoe, and I for the 6th. So I don't know if it's Tyler B., Carolyn interested in coming?
Sure. Wait a minute, what's the date? September 3rd?
September 3rd
Wednesday?
at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah?
Debbie, will you tell Tyler? Is it Tyler, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an explicit message.
I'll just text him, we volunteered him for stuff.
we just volunteered
For a lot of things.
for a lot of different.
And
That's a Wednesday, the 3rd.
at 1 p.m.
At 1 p.m.
And I think we're adjourned.
Very nice.